What's going on, everybody? My name is Miltrick. We're here for another broadcast of Miltrick Media, my newest podcast. Right now, we're at Hub 17 in Staten Island, New York. Ken Graham is manning the boards behind us. Shout out to Ken Graham and Hub 17, our wonderful studio. And right now, I am here with Saturn Lane, a New York City singer-songwriter and pop artist. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, diving right in, you recently came off the release of your most recent single, Didn't Know Better.
Yes.
That came out in the summer, July, right? July 30th it came out?
It was August 6th, but you're really close.
Really close.
Really
All right,
close,
we're really
yeah.
close. Almost there, a week off.
Yeah.
But congrats on the release.
Thank you.
So let's dive into the production process. And when did this song first come into fruition?
So, Didn't Know Better. I actually was sitting on that one for a while. I had I can't talk. The final thing ready to go. I wrote that one in January of 2019. Recorded it after the semester of college in June of that year, and then had it done probably August or something after the mix and master. And then I sat on it for a while because I wanted to make a little bit more music and have some stuff ready. And then I was like, okay, when I have some more stuff, then I'll be ready to put this out. And I want it to be something in the summer, and it's fun and, feel good. So that's kind of how that got started. So I had it for a while.
Yeah, so that's cool that you sat on it for. That same thing has happened with me. There were songs that I released even this year. I sat on it for so long. And have you gone through this too? Like, once you're going through that process, do you ever think like, shit, like I fucking sat on this for so long? You ever go through that?
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? Like, that was probably unnecessary,
But I've also felt like once I am getting it out though, it feels therapeutic, like you're ripping off a Band-Aid. Like at least I'm finally pulling the trigger on it. You know what I mean?
And like, I don't know if you do this too, but I show my friends the song, so like they'll know them after a while, and they're like, okay, so what are you doing with the song? Like, why is it not out yet? And I'm like, oh my God, like you're right, like you've known this song for over a year, 2 years, and it still isn't out, so.
That is great though. At least you show some close friends you have that support system, so they give you some critique and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I haven't done that as much, and I need to do that now, and that I would fuck myself up, like, dude, like, you should just show more people, but I'm just like, nah, I'd rather just, like, have it done. I feel like I have to show them a perfected product, but I'm realizing that's not always right. Like, change it up, show more people, get the feedback.
Yeah, because also, like, I feel like that too sometimes, but I think if you show musicians, they'll know that it's a process. If you show, like, the average consumer of music, they don't really necessarily understand what that process is like and all of the steps that it takes with the song. Like, they might expect it to be radio ready, and it's on step one, but like someone who writes music and records music knows all the different changes that go on and all the layers that get added and the mixing and the mastering and if you use Melodyne in your voice and like all this stuff. So it's probably better to show people who are in that part of the, like in that world, because they understand how that changes,
You're so right. When you're showing other people, musicians or even in the industry, they may know more of the process, but like people who are not involved in music, they're just used to the final product.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. So when you're creating music, what comes first for you, the melody or the lyrics, or do you think about the production first?
Ooh. So, it's like I started out writing lyrics first as a kid. I mean, they were trash, but I tried.
Oh, mine too. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
And I would say I used to start out writing poems, or maybe I would have a melody, but like I wouldn't remember it, or it wouldn't fit a song that I heard or something. So I would always end up changing it. So now what I think kind of works for me best is I will come up with a title or a line or something from time to time, but most of the time I write best when I hear a track first, and that kind of gives me the information like, okay, these are the notes I could sing, or like I just kind of vibe with it, and it kind of just like comes out like a rhythm or melody or something. It happens.
Like like a reference track.
Yeah, like it kind of works better for me that way, because I don't know so much about music theory where I can think, oh, I'm going to do this and go to this and harmonic and all that, whatever. Like I do it very much intuitively, so it helps me to hear the music first and be like, okay, let's work back now.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
No, I've noticed that too. Like I've tried recently, like I'll look up a lot of stuff on Genius, and I'll go like behind the producers, like on YouTube. Like I'll look up a lot of like 2010s, like even hip hop producers or just rock producers, try to like spur up a new creative process instead of like if I hit like a block, like shit, like what am I gonna write about? Like what should I do now? Like I've looked up lyrics to older songs and tried and like I'll try and use that as a reference too. Like, and it's helped me a lot because then like I'll get like melodies and I'll record a voicemail right away and I'll save it. But I think I fuck up with a lot. I'll record voice memos and I don't put a title to it. So I have like new recording 1124. I may have even said that in the last episode. And like, yeah, I have to go through and like relabel everything. So do you do that too? Are you like a voice memo person? Are you
Yes,
always on your
yes,
voice memos?
yes.
First idea, right?
You know what it is? I just have like a problem with the phone in general because I'm the person that has no joke like 80,000 pictures in my phone, like 10,000 notes on my phone,
All right,
like
so real quick, what's your
10,000
storage
voice.
capacity on your iPhone? You like 128 gigabyte gang, or like you're a terabyte?
You
Like
know, it's been a journey of many times of
mine
it
always
being
gets fucked
full.
up because
Yeah,
it's older too.
I want to say I'm at either 64 or 256.
It's not
I
bad.
kind of feel
That's not bad
it
at all.
might be
I think I'm 256.
256 because I was just wrecking every phone left and right, like with the
Yeah,
storage. So my brother's a tech
mine
person, so he
too.
gets so
Yeah,
mad at me. He's like, "What are you doing? This poor phone is going through it, you know." And I'm like,
yeah.
"I am like a picture, voice note, regular note
I have so many
hoarder." Like,
videos. I have so many
yeah.
videos, and I most recently because I like readjusted my iCloud. My phone for like 9 months, it kept saying you have no storage, you have no storage, even though I deleted like 50 gigs, and then I had to like I don't even remember if I updated or not because I don't often. I dropped my phone, the back of it cracked, even with the OtterBox. You can see, like, you see how that's cracked right there? I
With the
got this 3 years
Otterbox?
ago, but then, like, after that happened and I turned it off one time, it's like finally it went from like you have 6 gigs left and now you got like 80 gigs left because it finally synced up. So I guess a little like iPhone violence, it
Oh my
fucking, it
god.
evened it out. So that's
I
why,
love it. I love it.
yeah. So you said that your brother, so he's a tech person. So
Yeah.
is music in your family? Do you have a lot of musicians in your family? Or are you the first one going after it?
So, um, I'm kind of thinking of how to answer this. So the answer is like yes and no, and that sounds weird. Yes, in the sense of like my dad sings and mostly plays guitar though
Oh,
and
nice.
bass. My cousin sings, but she doesn't like perform or anything, but she does sing. My
Hmm.
grandpa sings, um, not like professionally, but he has a good voice and everything. And then my mom and brother are like tone deaf, you know, and they know it, so it's okay. And then my grandma can't sing, you know, so there it's kind of split. But what's interesting is my grandpa on my mom's side was in the music business, but I never met him.
Oh, nice. That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
so he was like at the time he was known in the music business. He was like a they call it disc jockey DJ.
Oh, like a
Um,
radio host.
yeah,
Nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
In the 60s, I think he started earlier than that. I should probably know. It's like I'm gonna say 40s or 50s to probably 50s to like when he died in the 90s.
Hmm.
So you know, like there's pictures of him like with the Beatles and like Rolling Stones and Howard Stern would talk about him on the radio and stuff
That's
like that.
sick.
So I'm like, yo, like he did some stuff,
Yeah.
but I never got to meet him. So he was in the business, but he wasn't a musician. He just like was on the business side of it.
Yeah.
Um, but he made a career for himself. So I guess in terms of going for it, technically I'm the first artist going for
You're the
it.
first one who has like
But
actual like some music out on the services in
yeah,
that sense.
yes.
Nice.
But you know, my dad has been a musician for his whole life, and
Yeah.
he like does rehearsals with bands and stuff. Has played from time to time, but he didn't really pursue it in terms of a career.
But that's cool. So he plays in bands like he's playing guitar. That's sick.
Yeah,
So that's so your family, like you said, your brother and your mother are a little more tone deaf, but you're
yeah.
music lovers and they're music lovers in your
Yeah,
family. So that's
especially my
cool.
brother. He can listen to anything. It's
All right.
amazing. He has like the most, I don't know, wide range of taste in music I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, it's a shame he's not like musically, you know, inclined or anything. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
It's all good. So then what are your biggest musical influences?
Oh, okay. Um, so I mean, a lot of them are really famous, but like, I
Nothing wrong
was,
with that.
because people are like, oh, like yeah, well, everyone loves them. But I'm like, listen, I've been on the Ariana Grande train literally since before she had a record deal.
Yeah, who cares?
You
I mean, that's
know,
fucked up when people
like
say that. Like, people like whatever you want. Like, who cares if they're
yeah.
bigger or not
It's
as
like,
well
oh, that's
known?
basic, you know.
Nah, I'm not. Nah, yeah.
Bebe Rexha, I've been a really big fan of since. I remember at the time they didn't even have a Wikipedia page about her yet. Like she
Yeah, she
wasn't
blew up.
verified yet. Like literally, the only reason why I knew her was because I had a friend in middle school who like her cousin's cousin was Bebe. So she was like, yeah, like my cousin's cousin is in this Pete Wentz band. You should check her out. And at the time, she had just put out "Take Me
Oh
Home."
yeah, she used to be in a band.
So
Like they opened. Like that was
yeah,
like the
yeah,
Decadence label, right?
yeah, yeah,
Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I didn't even know she was from Staten
So
Island. Like she went to
yeah, she
Tottenville,
is.
right?
Yeah, she is.
That's sick.
So there's a story about that too, where it kind of ties back to me for a second. I had an opportunity that was so awesome. She was filming a documentary like 5 years ago in Tottenville, circling back, and at the time, like she put on Snapchat like I'm at Tottenville High School. If you're in Staten Island, come through. So I was like, yo, bet we're going. Like hold everything. I look crazy, but I'm going right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Dressed horrible and everything. Um, And so MTV was filming, and they had me sign a waiver, and
When was this,
I
like back in high school? She
yeah
came through like when we were in high school.
I was 18, so this was
Oh, got you.
2016, so I was like about to graduate high
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
She was famous. Not this is before Meant to Be, but like after Hey Mama, like around the
yeah,
time of like I Got You and Me Myself and I.
yeah. Because she was grinding for
So,
years. I
oh
learned
yeah,
she was in it for
yeah,
like since 2010, right? Because she was like in bands
yeah. She went through a
before.
lot with the
She was grinding.
industry.
Yeah, she was
Got
grinding.
dropped and all this stuff. And there's like a video of me talking to her, and then
Oh,
she
really?
let me sing for her, and they put it on MTV, and
Oh,
I
nice.
passed out. I was like, oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
So when you mentioned Tottenville, I was like, yeah, I literally met her in Tottenville High School. Like,
Yeah.
so it was. I didn't even go to Tottenville, but like it was just cool anyway. I was like, what
Yeah,
is
why not?
happening? Yeah,
So you
like
mentioned Ariana, Bebe Rexha is a huge influence. Any
yeah,
other influences that like you say are
yeah,
like the ones that really fucking made you wanna start your career in music?
yeah. I mean, I remember like in my earlier, like really young moments, like when I was a kid, Kelly Clarkson, um, Miley Cyrus. Can we just okay? Miley Cyrus is such an icon, and I think she's overlooked a lot of times because of all the antics that
I
have
like she
gone
has great
on.
music. Her most
I
recent album, Plastic Heart,
her
she had Billy Idol on it. That
oh
was a great
yeah,
record.
she's so awesome because she can do so many genres,
Yeah.
and also she was Hannah Montana in
Yeah.
one
I'm not
lifetime.
gonna lie, when I was
Like
younger, yeah, like I used to watch some Hannah Montana, like I'm not gonna
I'll
lie, I
watch it
did. It
today.
was a
I don't
great
even
show.
care. I
It was
don't
a great
care.
show. It's
Like
been a minute, but like I used to, yeah, it was a great show.
she's like a spirit animal for me. But I mean, so I grew up at the show was exploding at the time that I was
Yeah.
like maybe 8. So I was like the prime audience.
Yeah.
So I think it was Kelly and then JoJo. I remember listening to her album in the car and I was like 7 or something. And then Miley, forever to this day.
Yeah.
And then it was like Christina Grimmie. Oh, I feel so bad. You know what happened with her?
Oh no.
So then,
I'm not gonna lie, that name is escaping me a minute. Like I'm not even
yeah.
100% sure who she is.
So she was a YouTuber, and she got famous. Selena Gomez's dad found her and then signed her, and then she went on The Voice, and she was doing some tours and stuff. And then at the end of one of her shows in Florida, this guy went up to her like she went to go hug him, like thinking, like this is some big fan, and he killed her.
Oh, when this happened in
So
2010s?
2016. It was the night of my prom.
Oh
Actually,
wow.
I remember being in the limo like crying. I was like, "Oh,"
That's wild. Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
horrible. So I really looked up to her vocally and everything, and then I discovered Ariana Grande singing because I saw her on Nickelodeon, but like I didn't really pay attention to
Yeah, me
the
too.
singing. And then there
Yeah.
was this one episode where Kat like lost her voice, and then she sang a couple of lines, and I was like, who sings like this? And then I did my
Yeah.
research. I looked online and stuff, and then she started making covers, and I was just blown away. I was like, who the hell sounds like this? Like
Yeah.
this is not a joke. Like
The first, because
you
I didn't even
know.
know that much about her music either, but like I used to really like Mac Miller. Like I got into Mac Miller
Mm.
when his second album, Watching Movies with the Sound Off, came out. Like I bought that CD in Best Buy. So I remember it came out in like my sophomore year in 2013. But he was featured on her song The Way. Like that was like one of her like first kind of songs that blew up,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
post Nickelodeon. And that's how like I found out like, oh, I didn't even know that she was also like getting up there as a recording artist too. Because I got
yeah,
into her because like that Mac Miller feature.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. It's like it's just wild. I mean, the way I could talk about her forever. I don't even know what to say, and I also feel like saying everything at the same time. It's like she's a prodigy. I mean,
So
listen,
she is your biggest influence, you'd say, at this like
vocally,
vocally?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she's all I could ever ask to be in the world. Like
You ever seen her live?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Like
have?
I one time I was really lucky, and I knew this girl. I was at Jingle Ball. I was like 15, having like the worst year ever, and I remember my friend's mom like worked for NBC or something like that, and then she texted me and she was like, I have an Ariana meet and greet for you. Like, you have to come now. Like, it's in 10 minutes. And I was like, because, like,
Yeah.
those things don't happen to me a lot, you know? Like,
No, you gotta
those
hop on the
crazy things.
spontaneity, yeah.
So, like, I was
Even like the
losing
BB
it.
thing you said, like the spontaneity.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
yeah.
just like drop of a hat. Shit just
Yeah.
goes down.
Sometimes you have to, like, I don't know. And then, so then I met her. I was a freaking sobbing wreck. And, oh my God, I can't even. But, so that was, like, amazing. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I love her, and it was kind of hard. Like, I had dual feelings about when she was starting to really blow up because, like, on one hand, yes, I was like, thank God, like, this is what I've been saying. Like, everyone needs to know that she exists. But also, like, there's that intimacy as a fan where like you know them and like the world doesn't know who they are yet, and like there's that like, oh, you don't want to like share them with other people, you
Once they
know?
blow up, it's like you knew about them
Yeah.
before. Sometimes as if you don't want to share them, but you're
Yeah.
happy that it's like they're going on
Yeah.
to the next level.
Like I remember she did her first tour, the Listening Sessions tour in 2013. I remember waiting outside. It was the Best Buy Theater at the time, and everyone was asking us, "Who are you in line to see? Who are you in line to see?" And I was like, "Ariana Grande." They're like, "Who's that?" And I literally was like, "You're in a couple of years, you'll never say
It's
that
insane, yeah,
again."
because she
Like,
blew, like, especially after 2015, I feel,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because then,
yeah,
like, it was insane. The Dangerous was like she was ubiquitous by this point. By that point,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's wild, but there's a bug in my face, but you know, it's amazing at the same time because like this is
yeah.
what I really wanted her like to do because I know how
You want them to
talented she
blow up,
is. But I'm
yeah,
also like, oh God, I miss the days when like I had a chance of her noticing me on Twitter or something. Like that's
yeah, yeah.
gone, you
Get the
know. Like
reply,
like
yeah.
now it's just I mean on Instagram, what does she have like 200 something
Oh
million,
yeah,
two
she's
hundred
up there,
sixty eight million or
something
something.
like that.
It's
Definitely in the
scary
top 10. She
numbers.
has
Like
to be in the top
no,
10.
she's like top two.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, for women.
So go. So do you remember how old you were when you went to your first concert? Did you go to a lot of concerts when you were younger? Did you go with family?
Yes, but I want to add one last thing to the other
No,
thing
yeah,
because I
yeah. Go
talk a
on, go
lot.
on.
Taylor
No, no
Swift,
worries.
major songwriting inspiration. Oh, I'm hitting myself in the face. And Taylor Swift and Adele vocally. But
Adele.
yes, so to answer your next
Yeah, my
question,
bad. I didn't mean to cut
no,
off. Yeah,
no,
any
no,
other
I could talk forever.
inspirations you got?
So
Yeah, yeah. So Taylor
I
Swift,
mean, so
Adele.
many, so many. Taylor, Miley, Adele, Demi, Ariana, Bebe, Christina Grimmie. I could literally go on forever. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna cut myself off there.
No, that's all good.
But and you know Beyonce, all I could do this forever. But to answer
Yeah.
your question, my first concert, oh God, something I should probably know, right? I'm gonna say, mm, I remember seeing this is not a concert, but I remember seeing the Olsen twins at like some movie premiere. My friend's dad like got us in or something. But I think in terms of concert, if I had to guess, I want to say it was I don't know like the Cheetah Girls or
Okay.
like Hannah Montana,
Cheetah Girls fan?
like Miley Cyrus on Good Morning America or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say it's something like
Some
that,
like in the
but
city.
yeah, it's something
Yeah.
Disney artist related for
Yeah.
sure. You
No,
know?
that's cool. So you mentioned all the other artists right before that. So, so beside like the first concert may have been like one of the like like Miley or some at GMA, something like that.
Hmm.
So in terms of what's it called? You say your first show was back then. So actually, I want to move back to going back more into the production process. So you
Okay.
mentioned how you used to write more about like poetry and stuff like that. That's how you may like start your No, like a lot of
Yeah.
lyricists do. Like I would try to is like I just try and write down words. I'll try and write on paper too. I use a lot of my notes app, but like sometimes I'm realizing when just write on paper in a book, I try and like get it flowing more because like I'm on something physical.
Hmm.
But what inspires you in terms of the sonics that you're going for? Like, what Didn't Know Better and Want You Bad? What sonically were you going for? Like, did you have a vision in your head, like, oh, I want this to be, let's say, more R&B oriented or pop? Like, what was that sonically you were going for?
So I think for me a big thing is like I just love pop music. I always have,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes other musicians feel a type of way about pop that it's whatever, but I can't help it. I love it. I think when it's
Yeah,
done
nothing wrong with
right,
that.
it's
Yeah.
super awesome. I love like a big anthemic chorus.
Mm-hmm.
I love drums. I love synths. I do love guitar, like particularly electric guitar, but I like acoustic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just something that it depends on the vibe. So like my song "Messed Up," that one, it's a pop song, but it's kind of like more on the ballady side, and
Mm-hmm.
it's sad. It's like a dark, pensive type of song. And then I put "Didn't Know Better" out after that, and that was more of like the response to "Messed Up," where it's like
Yeah.
this like okay, like yeah, I messed up, but like literally didn't know better. So
Yeah.
um,
No, it's cool. It's
it's
telling a
more
story.
celebratory and like self-accepting and self-love and kind of just like it is what it is, just make the best of it type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And "Want You Bad," which came out before both of those, that was more like where's the blog? That was
Nah, yeah,
more
the third guest. I'm hanging out.
yeah,
They're just hanging out. Yeah.
yeah, the
They're
exclusive.
trying to hop on the mic.
Yeah, yeah. That's more of like playful, kind of sexual, like I don't know. It's what, to be honest, it's what I thought I should do as an artist, as a girl too. Like I think I was what 19 or 20 at that time, and I figured, oh, well, this is what all the other artists do, so like I'm gonna do this. And then I was like, okay, like yeah, it was fun, it was whatever, it was like kind of an alter ego, but at the same time, like I want to be me. I want to like really say what I want to say, and I don't really have to pay attention to what other artists do. What's good for them isn't always good for me, and vice versa, you know. So then I started kind of writing into deeper topics, and that's where Messed Up and Didn't Know Better came about. And I'm really trying to figure out like, okay, well, what do I want to say and how do I want to say it, and not worry about all the like the I don't know what everyone else is doing, you know.
Yeah, no, because those songs are powerful. The lyrics, like, it tells a great story. Like, it's like a real personable place. And yeah, it's
Thanks.
like it's telling a story. So even what was it messed up? Like, you designed that cover art yourself. I remember I saw like online. Like, so yeah, how'd you make that cover art? What inspired that cover art?
Um, there's like little things in the details that probably no one else would know except for me because I wrote the song. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, I knew I wanted to be something blue on the cover because I mean, like it symbolizes like sadness and everything. I kind of wanted like a rose to symbolize. I mean, it's a full rose, but I like the idea of like when the rose, like you take the petals off and it's like slowly like coming undone.
Yeah,
It you don't see that in the art, but that kind of is what it reminded me of. Um, and yeah, I mean, I liked the way it looked. I didn't have any pictures of myself that were recent at the time.
mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I want to put this out soon. I am not going to have time to do this photo shoot and have it ready and done for this song.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a cover
That's
art, you
tripped me
know?
up. Like, I want to get more music out, and I don't know about you, but like, because I would love to make it a career, but I've also like realizing the importance of marketing and promotion, especially like what we went to school for. We'll touch on that later, but like, I've definitely felt bombarded, like the marketing process, the pre-release schedule, all the YouTube and Instagram accounts and coaches, and there's great value out there. But I've also realized, like, oh man, like I just want to get music out. I just want to put out the best music I can, evolve as a songwriter and producer, and I wish I didn't have to worry about the marketing and promo, like the release schedule. Like, oh, I need to get
Yeah.
like, and I like doing photo shoots and videos. Like, of course, it has a place and a purpose, but like I don't always want to have to do that for every release if I don't have to. I know, like, if of course, like if I had the resources, I would. But
Right.
yeah, do you ever feel you get burnt? Do you ever get burnt out by that, thinking
Oh.
like, oh, for each piece of music I want to put out, I'm gonna have to really go hard on social media, or at least have the strategy.
Yeah,
Do you ever feel like you
100%.
get burned out by that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot worth discussing about like what it really is like being an indie artist because I think there people say things but there's a lot that is kind of just like not said, at least not that I've seen so far. Maybe I'm not looking in the right videos and stuff, but I think a lot of people are like, yeah, like they focus so much on getting discovered, but what they don't sometimes address is like how it actually works. If you're not born with the connections or the budget, and yeah, you can build your own connections, and I guess you can build wealth, though it's a lot harder to do than to say.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely could build connections easier than wealth, I think. But
About time and place, you never know.
yeah, because it's a matter of doing it over and over and over again. But sometimes you could work as hard as possible, but if the pay isn't what it needs to be, it just is what it is. Like it's hard. It's not. I don't always know if. Yeah. Anyway, so but I think it's hard because there's so many hats you have to wear as an
Yeah,
independent
I was gonna
artist.
say the same thing.
Like
The hats.
it's the writing, it's the recording, it's if you're into the production, if you're vocal producing, mixing, the mastering, approving all of it, the photo shoots, the finding the photographers, finding the outfits, as a I for me, hair and makeup and nails and eyebrows and having everything being in
It's
shape.
like
And
running your own business,
yeah,
legitimately.
and it's running your own business, and but the business is you. So like, the product that people are judging is you. Like that's the
Yeah.
hard part. Is like, it's hard to separate who you are and who, like, what people perceive of the brand. And also then there's the promotion, the marketing, and figuring out ads and budget and doing interviews and networking and rehearsing, performing. Like
And
there's a
trying to have
thousand.
like the day job too to support all that.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
exactly, and then working on your craft and also getting enough sleep and water and eating the right diet. It's like I
Yeah,
could go on
yeah,
about this
yeah.
forever. There is a
It's as
thousand
if like
things
you
to
have no
do.
room for anything else sometimes. Like you have to really
No.
like, if you decide to do that, lock in for a certain amount of time and like kind of like shut everything else out. And
Yeah.
sometimes like that, like, that sometimes sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I love the process, but it's really hard when you have some things that are against you. Like you could talk to some great, I don't know, producers or videographers or social media um, strategists and things, and they all cost thousands of dollars, sometimes tens. And God, I mean, so I heard somewhere that like promoting one song, record labels spend like hundreds of thousands to $1 million just promotion.
Yeah,
So if you don't have
yeah.
that kind of money, how are you gonna go? How are you gonna
Of
do
course,
that?
there's
You
other
know?
avenues, but yeah,
Yeah.
like I read that too. I saw a couple of interviews from artists who were in the major label. They were in the major label system. Like they had deals. Their deals then moved on to whatever. They went independent for a time. And one artist I saw a video. They were like, yeah, basically, you could be independent, and let's say you want to work with radio promotion, personnel stuff like that. But when labels take songs to radio, it could, in terms of marketing and promotion, it could be like anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000. But yeah, it's like a real fee.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a yearly salary trying to take a song to like
Yeah.
the major rate, like the major outlets.
And that's not even a guarantee of success.
That's true. Yeah,
You know?
yeah, you're right.
So it's, and I don't say any of these things to like whine or say bad things about the
No,
industry.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really, because I know like sometimes the industry doesn't like when you say things like that. But I feel like the truth is for other people watching this, like if you
We're
feel
just like discussing it.
overwhelmed,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love
like
learning about all of it. Like I'm not,
yeah,
it's just fascinating to learn about and talk about. It's not meant to be in a disparaging manner at all. It's just
yeah, it's
being an
just
independent artist, navigating and learning as much as you can.
yeah, it's hard because I think a lot of artists, especially independent, are comparing themselves to the majors and like, well, why am I not here by this point? It's like, well, let's backtrack for a second. These major label artists, okay, they have managers, they have tour managers, they have business managers,
Yeah.
they have a lawyer, they have uh, hair and makeup artists, and they have a stylist, and they have a publicist, and they have assistants, and literally God only knows what I'm not even thinking of right now.
Yeah,
There's
it's a
like
whole
an
operation.
entourage, like, so I don't know if any of them could do it by themselves,
It is hard
you
because
know?
even it still happens, and I think record labels, of course, they have advantages. Like I think they still have a lot of great purposes for artists. It depends on the own artist, their individual goals, aspirations, and their journey. But yeah, it's like especially back then, everything you mentioned, of course, like these artists were supported by a label, a business, or a corporation, and
Mm-hmm.
this shit all cost money
Yeah.
for a good reason. Like yeah, of
Yeah.
course, and it's like yeah, there's ways to navigate if as an independent artist for sure. But the one thing like I'm learning there is great value information out there, but sometimes I've gotten bombarded. But I'm realizing there is no one right path. That's the
No.
best part too. It's like
Yeah.
you could figure out whatever you love the most, you're most passionate about, and you could try that avenue. Worst comes to worst, you fail, but then you'll learn. You could reassess and start over. You
True. Yeah.
could take as much
100%.
information, but it may not always be right for you or your journey.
Yeah. It's it's important to know that like it's a marathon, not a sprint. It
For
really
sure.
is. Like
The
even for
consistency
the
matters more than like trying to like hit it so hard out the gate. Cause
yeah.
then like you may like get so burnt out, you may implode, and then it's like
Yeah.
slow and steady.
And even like for the people who are overnight successes, I know that for a fact is not a real thing. Like overnight successes, they say on average it's 10 years of hard work is the overnight success. But, of course sometimes do weird things happen and people go viral. I mean, yeah, but that's
That is
like
possible. You
such
could
a
just blow up.
small population.
But
It's
now
like
I feel like it's about cultivating like a
yeah,
real
it's consistency,
fan
and then
base.
you put yourself in the position to potentially blow up, to potentially have something go viral. Like it's all about the consistency. I would love to see the stats on how many people post their first video and go viral
Yeah.
in today's
And then let's say you
saturation.
eventually do find that viral moment. How do you monetize that? Or
Yeah,
even like you're so consistent, like you're working as hard as you can. And if that does happen, then it's as if like you are prepared.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of one of
They want to
the
hop on the mic. I think
they
they want
want
to ask you a
to they want
question.
yeah. I mean, it's one of the teachers when we were in school told me in college that there is an element of luck that definitely exists in the industry and really in anything,
Yeah,
but it's more about preparation so that you have the opportunity to get lucky. If you're unprepared, yeah, you could be super lucky, but if you have no idea what's going on, like it's going to affect the luck that came to you.
for
So
sure.
so preparation and luck equal that like
Yeah,
goal, I guess. And I'm sure a lot of other factors, but yeah, there definitely is luck involved,
yeah.
because there are tons of singers who are unbelievable, but they're not all famous.
So much
You
great music
know?
is coming out every week, every day.
Yeah,
But yeah, how do you cut through the clutter?
yeah,
That's the thing now. It's like I saw this. This wasn't originally from me, but I saw it and it really registered with me, and I thought it was a great point. Like back then, when it was just physical media, And the connections you had, let's say with the major labels gave you the advantage because you were able to get the shelf space. Like if you had vinyl or CD, and of course, if you're with a well-known label, you were able to get that prominent exposure on the shelves. You had
Mm-hmm.
the what is it? I'm thinking of not decision fatigue, the choice fatigue, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
But I was gonna say, like, bottom line is going back to what I'm saying now is now there's so much stuff coming out. Like, I don't know the exact statistic, like thousands of songs every week upload to the services. There's so much. How do you cut through?
Yeah,
How do
it
you cut
was.
through?
I think it was 60,000 per
I was
day.
thinking that too, but I wasn't sure if it was right. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think it is that
that's
number. It's
wild,
insane, right?
wild. It's and even back to the labels for a second, it's so different. Like with A&R, because in the '90s in A&R, the artist comes in and they actually develop them and they teach them all these things and really set them up for the success. Today, it's like you have to have everything ready yourself. And you have to have the social media presence and all this stuff, and then they'll sign you. But you have to
The
have pretty
following,
much
the
most of it
audience.
done,
You kind of
right?
have to do the groundwork on your own,
Yeah.
and then yeah,
And I have mixed feelings about it. I think in some ways it's good, and in some ways it's more of a challenge. But it is what it is. This is how
it
it
is what it
is.
is. Yeah,
Like it's not changing for me.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's a really complicated business, and I think you got to remember of why you're in it, like because you really love what you do, and if you think about the end game, it's important to think about it and strategize and all that. You can't totally not think about it because you need to have some type of direction. But it's important to also remember that the end game is not everything. And sometimes what you think you want, you find something else and you realize you actually are happy you got that instead.
Yeah.
So like you have to like to anybody listening, you have to just remember why you love it and what keeps you doing it all the time. And it shouldn't be things that are superficial because fame, I mean, obviously I'm not famous, I can't tell you from experience, but fame is fleeting. So one minute you're loved by everyone, and if there's some type of scandal or something, you're hated in a minute. And it's like it's very it's inconsistent. And then same thing with wealth and power. All these things can come and go if depending on how you play your cards. So it's really important to remember like the root of everything, of like to stay grounded. Like why do you
As long as
actually
the
want
passion, you
this?
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, because everything else is a little inconsistent.
Yeah. So I want to touch on your artist name, Saturn Lane. What is the origin of that name?
So I am from Staten Island, born and raised here, and I lived in a street called Saturn Lane, and I didn't. Oh my God, I didn't know what to name myself for my artist name because I don't know, I didn't want to keep it as my real name. So then I was like, Saturn Lane's kind of weird because it's a planet and there's a bug on my mic.
But
And
it is unique to where you started too, so that's the best kind.
yeah, that's what I kind of realized like as I named myself that I
It
was like
is unique to your story.
it's full circle because it's like Saturn Lane is literally the first house I ever lived in,
Hmm.
but it's like the start of my life, but it's also the end goal of my career is I want like Saturn Lane to be prominent and like I want it to come full circle where like it's the start and I guess the end of my life, like where it's kind of become one thing. Like it's my past self and my future goals like self.
Yeah, like realigning
So
eventually.
yeah, so and also I think it's cool because it's like a planet and it's
No, but that's
conceptual and
cool,
like
and it's cool
artsy and
that your
weird,
street name was that, and like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's like where your life started. So it's
yeah.
like
I got
that's
that.
real.
I got that idea from Iggy Azalea. Her real name is Amethyst Kelly, and she named her first name after her dog Iggy, and the last
Oh,
name
how's the
after
dog's name? That's
Azalea
cool.
Street. Now I never had a dog, unfortunately, so I didn't have that. So I was like, okay, Saturn Lane it is, and it has like a ring to it.
No,
You
it's
could
a cool
spell
name.
it. You could thank you. You could say it. You could find it like it's phonetic. So I
Yeah,
like that about it.
yeah, that's cool. So, what do you have upcoming for the rest of the year? How many? What are you working on currently?
So right now, I wrote some music earlier in the year and some even last year, and I made demos for it. But now I want to like actually do it properly, and re-record it, like finalize it. So I'm working on that. I've been doing performances in Manhattan and Brooklyn, Staten Island, like just gigging again. I've been doing interviews like this. I also work full time, and I write music and just kind of, I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm trying to do everything that I
Yeah.
can. But a lot of, yeah, like just figuring out what next steps are and just making more and more music.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So, in terms of what's next for Saturn Lane, do you feel that you're going to be your next project will be either an EP or an album, or you just want to keep putting out singles?
I think it's gonna be a few more singles, and then I'll look into like actually building an EP. It is gonna take some time. I want to really make it like I can't remember is it cohesive or coherent?
No, it's
Where
like cohesive product.
cohesive because I don't know the difference between the two
No, it's all
sometimes,
good.
but so cohesive, yeah. I want to make it like a real story from beginning to end.
Yeah, for an album.
You
You
know,
mean
yeah. I know
that's
what I want to
cool.
name it and stuff. It's like I know what I want it to be about, and I'm just trying to figure out like okay, a few more singles, and then I'm gonna start on that. So it'll
Yeah.
be exciting.
No, that's awesome. So when you are creating and when you're making your songs, do you do a lot of the work in, let's say, your own little home studio at home, or do you just wait to go to either a studio or to, let's say, wherever your producer is?
So, I mean, it really depends. I need to honestly learn how to record myself better. I can do it, but I don't like the way I do it as much as other people who
Yeah.
are more experienced with it. So I definitely want to improve on that. But I do typically record either at my friend's house or my producer's house, sometimes a studio. It really depends on the song, like who I'm working with on it and stuff. But more of the time, other people would record it for me, but I'll do the songwriting.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I've been doing a lot of stuff at home, but I'm realizing I may want to try and like switch it up. Either go to maybe a producer's house, maybe even a studio, because I just want to change up the process. Maybe that will
Yeah.
result in something different.
Yeah.
Because working at home too, sometimes I just want to change of environment. Maybe that will like help inspire a new kind of songwriting.
100%.
Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
And also, like, I kind of have two opposite, like, schools of thought when it comes to learning certain skills. Part of me is like, well, I want to learn these things and get good at them. And then part of me is like, well, I kind of want to stay and really hone in and, like, perfect things I already know and really just focus my attention on what I know that I can do versus then trying to be all spread out and, like, be subpar at some of it. So
I know what you're
you know what I
saying.
mean? So I
I'm feeling
want
that too.
to, but I do want to learn how more of the technical stuff, learn how to produce and stuff. But I'm also like, it's important, but also if I could hire somebody who really knows how to do it way better than me, I save
At
time.
least less stress
And
too. You know.
yeah, and I could watch them and learn in my own way, but I don't have to like actually do it from the ground up. It takes so much more time and like
Yeah.
I'd rather just stick to what I'm good at and like really
The
learn
power
how
of
to nail it.
outsourcing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a team. You know, everything is building up a team, and I used to like want to do everything myself, and I realized nobody. I mean, maybe some people do it themselves, but like it's exceptionally difficult to do
Yeah.
everything yourself. You know.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, what's the favorite thing since you've been playing shows again? You said you've been playing like in Brooklyn, Staten Island, like Manhattan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, actually, in terms of your whole career so far, what has been your most memorable show? One
Hmm.
that is your favorite so far?
I'm gonna say so. I did one recently, though. Of all time, I would have to think about that. But the thing that comes to me right now is down the block. There's a place called O'Henry's, and I did one maybe a month or two ago, and there was this crowd that was like so awesome and energetic, and um, there was this guy there that was like, "Yo, that's your original stuff. Like, why isn't this on the radio? Like, I love this." And they were like standing up and dancing and stuff, and I'm shy when it comes to like the dancing and stuff, like on stage, because I'm not a gifted dancer, but when I know when they're moving around, then I am able to like relax and
Bounces
move
off the
around.
energy, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't even realize that I'm doing it, and that's my favorite kind of performance because the room is so warm and welcoming that it's like a beneficial thing, you know,
Yeah.
on both sides because the more they're enjoying it, the more I'm enjoying it, the more I'm enjoying it, the more I could be more entertaining, and then make them, you know, it's like
Yeah.
they bounce off each other. So that was a really good time. I was like, wow, that was sick. Like that was a good
That's
time.
right off Bay Street, O'Henry's,
Yeah,
right?
it's like 2 minutes from here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
it's super cool.
That's sick. So, wrapping it up, is there any last thing in terms of projects or promotion you want to talk about?
Um, I mean, I would like to just say that if you haven't heard my music, I have a few different songs out. Currently, I have "Want You Bad," which is kind of like this pop with rock element. It's a sexy type of promiscuous-ish song. And then I have "Messed Up," which is more of like a mental health and relationship song, and it's kind of like one you get, you know, you listen to when you're in your feels. And then I have "Didn't Know Better," which is kind of like the yeah, like let's do this, like it's okay to make mistakes type of thing. So there's definitely, if you are into that kind of stuff, I think that you may like my stuff. And yeah, check me out on social media, Saturn Lane. I would love to talk to you. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No, for sure. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, check out Saturn Lane's music on all streaming services. It's Saturn Lane. And her social is just Saturn Lane, all one word, right? On
On
Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram, on Twitter, I think Facebook it's at Saturn Lane Music. My website is saturnlanemusic.com. Um, TikTok is Saturn Lane. I think that's it.
Yeah. Oh, you said your website, main website was SaturnLaneMusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so make sure you check out Saturn Lane on all socials and the streaming services. You'll check out Want You Bad, Didn't Know Better, Messed Up. Any other songs I missed? Well, it's everything in general, the whole catalog.
Yeah, that's all that's out so far, but there's definitely some more stuff coming. I am grinding, so there's a lot to come, and I'm excited for it.
No, for sure. And thank you again so much for coming on. But
Thank you for having me.
yeah, for sure. And that concludes this episode of Miltrick Media. We had our guest Saturn Lane. And thank you for whoever. Well, no, this is not even live. So listen, that's the end of this episode of Miltrick Media. And we will see you soon.